But then sometimes like the special effects looked really bad, like especially a lot of the CGI blood effects. I thought they looked horrible throughout this movie.
They were trying to escape. Kill them all.
Hello, Drive-By Movies here, and you are watching
Fresh releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And today we are checking out the long-awaited Gareth Evans film that hit Netflix, Havoc.
It looks like you guys shoot up pretty bad, Jake.
Well, it's kind of hard to dodge a fucking washing machine.
After a drug deal gone wrong, a bruised detective must fight his way through that criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son, unraveling a deep web of corruption and conspiracy that ensnares his entire city. So, James, this is Gareth Evans' film on Netflix. It's kind of like his follow-up to it's his second feature on Netflix. You know, of course, we know him as the director and filmmaker behind the Raid films. And he did the film Apostle on Netflix a couple years back with Dan Stevens. What'd you think of Gareth Evans' Havoc?
Yeah, I thought Apostle was a great direction for Gareth's next film, especially for like an American-made movie too, just because it still had a lot of those cool action camera movements, but it wasn't an action movie itself. It was more of just like a weird cult thriller movie with some horror elements and some action elements. This, just reading about it and just like the long waits for it, because it's been on my Letterboxd watch list for years. When I first created Letterboxd, like this is one of the movies that I was seeking out. What is Gareth Evans' next project? And I was like, okay, Havoc. It seems like it's already done. We should get it within the next year. But this movie has been delayed for quite a couple of years. What it's been delayed for, I haven't really done the research on that. But this is what we got. And I'm glad to see it's doing well on Netflix. But this was a major letdown. Like, this is a letdown that just, like, I hate, like, sounding negative to. But it's just one of those movies I just, like, had way overhyped. I was way too overhyped going into it, similar to Azrael last year when we reviewed that movie. But yeah, I'm pretty let down on this one. What are your thoughts coming out of it?
That's actually a great movie to bring up, Azrael, because that was
Simon Barrett and Eel Katz.
That was Eel Katz, like long-awaited kind of sophomore movie. It's not his sophomore movie, but you know what I mean, like sophomore in the genre at least.
Yeah.
Like similar, maybe more similar to Cheap Thrills, and Cheap Thrills was like this big movie that he came out with. You have the same thing with Gareth Evans. The Raid movies are well loved, and you know the time it took from the Raid Redemption to the Raid 2 wasn't really that long. I think it was only like a couple of years, maybe 3 years max. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but yeah, like from the Raid 2 to this, that's like almost like 10 years, I feel like. I could be wrong, but yeah, it feels like a long time, and this film is just a major letdown. I think some of the action is fun here and there, but it really kind of shows that Gareth Evans' strong suit is not script writing for me, and even direction outside of choreography. There was a lot of, like, he has a lot of heavy hitters in this film. This cast is pretty phenomenal, but I felt like there were times where the acting just almost felt like mediocre. Like this felt like kind of like a straight to DVD movie at times, where I'm like, okay, this is like the way people are delivering lines. Like even Tom Hardy and Forrest Whitaker, I'm like, this just kind of doesn't feel like, you know, a movie that would be in theaters. It does feel like a movie that's straight to Netflix. And I mean, it is, but it has that negative stigma to it, where I feel like there was a time where Netflix didn't have a negative stigma to like being a direct to video type of service. I don't know why, but this movie screamed that for me. It was filmed kind of interestingly. I liked, like, it felt like they almost used like 16mm film, or maybe they just added like grain sometimes. Like it had like a cool look to it, but then sometimes like the special effects looked really bad. Like especially a lot of the CGI blood effects, I thought they looked horrible throughout this movie.
Yeah, it just really took me out when the opening action sequence of this movie is like a full CGI car chase sequence that wasn't all that thrilling, just because none of it felt real. I was just like, where are we? Like, the city doesn't feel natural. Like, I did like that it almost had a comic book vibe to it. Like, it almost looked like it was a Detroit version of Dark City or something like that. But just, it really took me out on just me being like, is this just a full green screen set that they're filming on? Like, there's so many sequences where I'm just like, they're not on set, like even in like Toronto or somewhere in Georgia or something to save money. This is just like a full green screen set, and those kind of sequences would take me out. But yeah, fully agree with the acting too. We know Forrest Whitaker and Tom Hardy know how to act, but it just felt like they were phoning it in. Some of their lines were cheesy, but just some of the choices that they made also in how to, like, you know, say these lines just like came off really dorky. I forget what the exact words like Tom Hardy says. There's like a point where his voice like cracks up, like I'm a cop, like something like that. And I was just like, it reminded me of Ryan Gosling being made fun of in Only God Forgives when he was like, take it off in that movie. It just like, it was one of those kind of moments where it's just like, oh my God, like. But, you know, this movie does have some awesome brutality to it. And those like sequences, it has that brutalness of the raid. It doesn't have the fun choreography of the raid, but it does have that, but you can't look away. Like some cool moments, but just it's not enough to, like, even though the movie's like it's like 100 minutes, I think. So it's just a little over 90, but it just drags and just like, it's nothing original. I didn't find myself caring about the story or the characters whatsoever, and that's first and foremost the most important thing. And you know, if you have a great director with an unlimited budget from Netflix, I thought we are going to get like some masterclass things here, but I saw it was also produced by Tom Hardy too, so it's just like, what happened? Like, why did, when they got on set, just like everything seemed to fall apart?
Yeah, it's confusing to me too, because in a way I feel like there was maybe this alternate timeline that could have happened back around the Raid 2, where like maybe instead of filmmakers that just made one movie like Safety Not Guaranteed, Colin Trevorrow, maybe there's a reality where he doesn't get Jurassic World just based off one indie movie with out of focus shots. Maybe a director like Gareth Evans gets a movie like that where he would be working in the Hollywood system. But it seems like it took so long, so many years, like almost a decade basically, to get here to kind of make a movie where he's, you know, more at the helm. You know, it is a Netflix movie, but it doesn't feel like, it still feels like it's like, okay, Tom Hardy produced this, he's at the helm, but then nothing really pays off for them. It just feels like this movie, like you said, it's not original. And then like we waited over a decade for it, and there's just weird choices being made, and I don't know really who's even making the choices. Like, it kind of feels like the chinks in the armor are being shown for Gareth Evans. Like, does he need to be like Indonesia to make like good, interesting movies? Or did just a decade pass and we've gotten tons of John Wick movies that have ripped off? We've gotten like, I mean, every John Wick movie and every John Wick ripoff movie that has ripped off the Raid movies. So now when you get Gareth Evans movie, but it's like his American movie, it just doesn't feel like it's even something to be excited about, I guess. And it kind of sucks, but I feel like that's just the passing of time, really. And that's kind of sucks about the fact that he never really got an opportunity, you know, or just maybe it took him too long. Like, because even Apostle, that was like maybe 5 to 7 years after the Raid 2. And I will go on record saying like the Raid 2, I think, is one of the best action movies ever made, but Havoc is not.
Right, yeah. Like, it's a fun watch, I guess, but I guess it's more of a fun surprise action movie if you go in just expecting a cop thriller. Like, this movie will probably surprise you with how violent it is, and you'll probably think, oh, the action's cool. But if you're watching this specifically for Gareth Evans, though, I think a lot of people like me are going to have the same thoughts coming out of it. We're just like, you know, it's not the worst thing I've seen, but just I expected better, and I know that like we kind of deserve better from this director. And I feel bad saying that. He doesn't owe us anything. I'm sure he's probably proud of this movie, but you know, I'm just curious to hear what went on behind the scenes, because we don't, like, you know, there was all that drama with Jeremy Saulnier's movie that came out with the casting choice changes that were made with that movie. What was the name of that movie again?
Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge, yes. I'm like, you know, I haven't heard any of that kind of stuff happen with Havoc, but I'm just curious if there was some weird behind the scenes drama, just because there is no chemistry between any of the actors. Like I said, a lot of it just feels like it's shot on green screen sets. So it's just, you know, a matter of just like, you know, what went wrong with this movie. It could be that just nothing went wrong and just we just ended up not liking it, but just I expected more from it. And you know, Gareth Evans has, I know he did have trouble with the Deathstroke movie. He was signed on to do a DC Comics movie with that villain, and just, you know, obviously that never happened. So I'm not sure how long he was spending time on that. But yeah, whether or not that's an issue with affecting this movie or not, it's just overall letdown.
Yeah, I feel like now that he's got Havoc under his belt, I hope that somebody out there will recognize he is a talented director, but maybe just this one wasn't the one. I think too much time has passed in a way where everyone kind of caught up to his technical brilliance, and maybe he's lacking in the experience of like, he wasn't, you know, mastering the craft in the sense of like his direction maybe fell off and in the room, like kind of working on the Deathstroke movie, you know, you're not utilizing those skills while you're working on development, as opposed to like you're sitting in the director's chair. So yeah, I just hope that maybe he gets another movie where he can really show us, but for me, Havoc wasn't it.
Yeah, so, you know, it's going to be two different crowds of people who are probably praising it if, you know, you haven't seen the Raid movies, and, you know, that this might be a very shocking, surprising, fun movie for you to just stumble upon on Netflix. But, you know what we went in looking forward to, and we just didn't get it, unfortunately. So, you know, are you in our box, or are you in the other box I brought up? Let us know in the comments below. Great way to help support the show. Just watch the movie. Tell us what you thought about it in the comments down below.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
Oh yeah, and speaking of updates, catch all our social media links down below for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we also have our own personal Letterboxd accounts. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.